So a few days ago, I finished a video talking about the idiotic right-wing lie that the Hells Angels were on their way to Aurora, Colorado to fight a Venezuelan street gang. Sorry, I just need a minute to process that is a sentence you can say in the year of our Lord 2024, and people are like, yeah, yep, that's right, I remember that. Anyway, when I finished that video, I had no desire to address the various other right-wing lies about immigration that are currently floating around. But then this happened.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
My initial thought here was, oh, this is great. Because, if you didn't watch the U.S. presidential debate, Kamala Harris repeatedly baited Donald Trump into having these epic meltdowns by just mentioning things like, how his rally numbers were bad. And that's what eventually led to this explosion. And for people who are not terminally online, who are watching at home, Trump looked, batshit. Because he is. It was a really good debate tactic, I thought, on the part of Kamala Harris. And sure enough, surveys the next day showed that by and large, people thought Kamala won the debate and that Donald looked bonkers. But, after my initial joyous reaction, I realized, wow, a former United States president who was running to be president again just stood on a stage in front of 60 million people and shouted Nazi propaganda, and the election is still probably going to be a tight race. And that's really depressing. From the moment that this lie hit social media, everyone who works in the area of radicalization and hate groups, everyone I follow at least, immediately recognized this as a Nazi talking point. The classic big lie used by bigots to stir up hatred against a marginalized group, of course, is blood libel. The idea that Jewish people ritually murder Christian children and use their blood to cook treats for Passover. There have been many variations on this over the past 2 millennia, but the basic gist is always that Jewish people are evil, predatory, savage, even subhuman, and that they are a dangerous threat to the civilized world that must be removed. That is why blood libel has directly led to the persecution of Jews throughout several millennia. That's why the experts immediately clocked this lie as a new take on an old Nazi bit of propaganda. It's a persecuted group, in this case, Haitian immigrants, that are said to be so evil and predatory and savage and subhuman that they are going to come to our wholesome towns and eat our beloved pets. They are clearly a dangerous threat that must be countered somehow, huh? While I agreed with the experts that this was obviously a spin on that ancient Nazi talking point, I didn't realize at first quite how right they were. I knew that the lie started because of an upsetting video of police body cam footage, which showed a woman experiencing a serious mental breakdown and trying to eat a cat. The woman was not Haitian, not a recent immigrant, possibly not an immigrant at all, we don't really know, and not in Springfield. So how did that video end up being used as proof that Haitians are in Springfield eating people's pets? Hold on to your monocle. Turns out some Nazis started it. Just a few weeks ago, a man spoke at the Springfield City Commission meeting. Here is what he had to say.
Nathaniel Higgers of Blood Tribe. I was at the head of the anti-Haitian immigration march earlier this month. I'm sure the Honorable Mr. Rob Rue recognizes me, considering he supposedly knew of our action before we even arrived.
He's a literal Nazi. He marched with swastikas.
First of all, I would like to dispel the myth that you knew of our march and intentionally had no reaction or made no forewarning about it as a preventative measure. You had no more idea than the police officers or Haitians. And it's frankly insulting to our organization to make such a claim. Second, I've come to bring a word of warning. Stop what you're doing before it's too late. Crime and savagery will only increase with every Haitian you bring in. and with it,
I
public
think
frustration and anger.
You sound threatening to me. I'm going to
Based on the comments
if I could
tonight,
ask the police to go ahead.
I'm sure I don't need to tell you that.
Just sound threatening if you go ahead and just peacefully be removed.
These people didn't ask for this, and they deserve better than to have to put up with violent,
Thank you
unruly
so much.
outsiders.
You're done. Thank you. That's all. Thank you so much. Not really thank you, but...
Now, the journalist who posted that said that this man is named Nathaniel Higgers from Blood Pride, which isn't quite right. First of all, that is not his real name. That's an anti-Black slur that stupid bigots think is clever. His real name is Drake R. Barretts, a well-known white supremacist who is the second in command of a neo-Nazi group called Blood Tribe. He was with them back in February when he marched through Tennessee, where he appeared on camera assaulting someone. Anti-fascists have fully cataloged everything this disgusting chud has done, including taking note of his prominent Nazi tattoos, so he's pretty easy to recognize. So yeah, this lie was actually dreamt up and spread by literal Nazis before vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance picked up the story and posted it to his Nazi-adjacent fans on Shitter, where it racked up more than 100,000 likes. After the town of Springfield went on record to say the entire thing was a dangerous lie, not only did no one at Shitter add a community note, but Vance posted an even more disgusting follow-up. In the last several weeks, my office has received many inquiries from actual residents of Springfield who've said their neighbors' pets or local wildlife were abducted by Haitian migrants. It's possible, of course, that all of these rumors will turn out to be false. Do you know what's confirmed? That a child was murdered by a Haitian migrant who had no right to be here. He goes on, but I want to pause here because this is another lie that was repeated by Donald Trump at the debate with Harris. And somehow it manages to be even worse than the pet eating lie. And until I read this lie, I didn't think that that was even possible. I didn't think they could sink lower. Here's why it's worse. Not only does this lie also stoke hatred against Haitian immigrants who do have every right to be here, but it does so by exploiting a dead child and his grieving family. In 2023, a man accidentally crashed his car into a school bus, tipping it over. Many children were injured, and one, 11-year-old Aiden Clark, was killed. The man responsible was a Haitian immigrant, and the incident is largely what kicked off a heated debate over Springfield's policies on welcoming immigrants to save their dying industry town. I can imagine what it must be like to lose a child. And not only that, but then to be thrust into the middle of a political debate, and then to see your son used as a pawn by bigots to further their hateful agenda. I can't describe how that is, but Aiden's dad actually did. Here he is speaking about what they have gone through.
We felt it would be in our best interest to be here after recent comments. You know, I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt. But if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. But even that's not good enough for them. They take it one step further. They make it seem as though our wonderful Aiden appreciates your hate, that we should follow their hate. And look what you've done to us. We have to get up here and beg them to stop. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. And speaking of morally bankrupt, politicians, Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump, they have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies. To clear the air, my son, Aiden Clark, was not murdered. He was accidentally killed by an immigrant from Haiti. This tragedy is felt all over this community, the state, and even the nation. But don't spin this towards hate. In order to live like Aiden, you need to accept everyone. Choose to shine, make the difference, lead the way, and be the inspiration. What many people in this community and state and nation are doing is the opposite of what you should be doing. Sure, we have our problems here in Springfield and in the U.S., but does Aiden Clark have anything to do with that? Did you know that an 11-year-old boy could be passionate about gardening, that he could haggle for a better price at a yard sale? Did you know that he researched different cultures to better appreciate and understand people that he interacted with? Did you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate. I said to Aiden that I would try to make a difference in his honor. This is it. Live like Aiden. Thank you.
Friends, I'm not embarrassed to admit that I sobbed the first time I watched that. I should tell you that it hits a bit close to home because I lost a kid that I used to babysit when a drunk driver hit his school bus. But even without that connection, you would have to be a monster to not feel deeply empathetic for these people. And you'd have to be an even bigger monster to then use this tragedy for scoring political points in a debate, and especially for using it to sow fear and hatred of people who are already struggling, people who are just trying to make a better life for themselves. It's just so unbelievably vile. So yeah, sorry to take this someplace sad, but yeah, I laughed during the debate when Trump went on this unhinged rant about immigrants eating cats and dogs, but I can't really laugh about it anymore. The man in serious contention to become the next president of the United States just mindlessly repeated 2 actual Nazi lies on the world stage. We have a moral obligation to make sure that these disgusting losers never get power again. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.